And another wonderful day in a sea of wrecks. Can you hear the sarcasm in my voice? But it's not the nicest of days, and it's not the nicest of places, but here I am. Ta-da! Alright, this time I made sure to put the steering wheel down out of the way so I don't block my face. And I'll actually look at the camera, because I notice I have a bad habit of looking all around, but I'm not actually looking at the camera. So I'll try to actually look at the camera for a change. But I thought I'd tell you guys today about what it was like for me to have a stroke. When I was 8 years old, I had a stroke. I was paralyzed on my right side for about 2 weeks. But what all started was, it was recess. I was at school. I was an 8-year-old kid, you know, running around playing. The recess bell rang. We went up to class. And when I went and sat down at my desk, I had a pain in my eye. Felt like I got stung in the eye by a bee or something, but right in the center of my left eye. Anyways, the teacher just figured I got something in my eye, so they sent me down to the washroom to wash my eyes out. So I went and did that, and it didn't get any better. And as I was walking back to the class to let the teacher know that wasn't what was wrong or something else was wrong, my balance really started to go, and I had a hard time walking. I was back and forth like this. So I ended up kind of bumping into the walls and stuff, but I don't know if the teachers actually saw that. But anyways, after that, the teachers called my mother, and she of course came and got me. They figured, they didn't think it was anything major. So we went to the doctor. The doctor did a quick checkup. He said, he's fine. He's just got the flu or something. Give him some popsicles or something, and he'll be fine in the morning. Anyways, so that's what we did. Well, unfortunately, that doctor's misdiagnosis kind of screwed me over and may have totally permanently fucked me, but that's another story. But anyways, I woke up the next morning by falling out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I fell down the stairs. Or, I don't know, I did a bunch of falling. I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. I couldn't hold myself up. My right side was totally numb. Literally totally numb. You could have stabbed, you could cut my arm off. I wouldn't have felt it at all. You could pinch me. Like, you know, I didn't feel a damn thing. It was completely numb. So into the hospital we went, and we were there for quite a while, but finally got in and found out, sure enough, yes, I had a stroke. So I was in the hospital for a little over a week. They were running tests and stuff. I was having, I don't know, close to 30 needles a day. My arm looked like a friggin' pincushion. I guess it does happen. It's not a very common thing, but in kids, you know, 5 to 10, they said that at that hospital they'd have 2 or 3 years sometimes. So it did happen, does happen. On a side note, it might have been caused by a drug in kids' cold, used to be in kids' cold medications called PPA. Probably, almost 20 years ago, there was a big thing on TV that they were doing a big class action lawsuit about it. At the time, I actually started getting my ducks in a row to get in on that, and then my life kind of fell apart, and that fell apart, and, well, that never happened. But, anyways, so, yeah, like I was saying, 2 weeks, I was fully paralyzed at first. On my right side, I had no feeling, I had no strength. After 3 or 4 days, it took all the strength I had in my body to lift my arm over my head like that. And I mean, like, just over my head and let it drop like a ton of bricks. It was weird because, you know, I was used to being able to pick big heavy stuff up with that arm, with that amount of power, but, you know, it took all I had just to lift my arm. And it took a while to be able to walk again. Definitely about, I don't know, I was pretty determined now. That was one of the good things. Where I was a kid, it was good because, you know, as a kid you're determined, you just think you're sick. You don't realize all the side effects and such. as well as you're still developing, so it's, you know, not so permanent. So luckily, though I did do stupid stuff like try to go in the wheelchair with one hand and get my fingers caught in the spokes, that was always messy. Never hurt, got my fingers caught in the spokes 2 or 3 times, mangled my fingers, but didn't break them, but didn't feel a goddamn thing. I kind of laughed, actually. I fell out of bed one time, and I did laughed hysterically. They thought there was something wrong with me because I fell out of bed. You know how high hospital beds are. Fell out of the bed, cracked my head on the register, which usually would have hurt. I laughed my head off because it didn't hurt a bit. But scared the hell out of everybody else because they thought there was something seriously wrong with me when that happened. But, you know, not that there isn't, but that's a whole other story. So yeah, anyways, I was in the hospital for a week and a half. Recovery was slow. About 2.5 weeks later, I regained pretty much most of my mobility back. I was able to walk again, talk normal. You know, before, of course, I was slurring my speech. I didn't drag my leg as bad and stuff. I still do drag my leg. I will drag my leg for the rest of my life when I'm tired. I kind of do mumble and slur my speech due to the stroke, I'm sure. And there's also, I'm sure there's a lot of side effects. Sorry, I keep looking away from the camera. But there's all these side effects that I assume probably have to do with the stroke. There's like things like, my creativity's changed big time. When I was a kid, I loved to draw. I was really artistic. I was musical. Now, all those things, I kind of hit a wall after my stroke, and before it was like, you know, practice and boom, I'd learn new things and get better at it. And now it's just, I could practice and practice, but it's not the same. So, you know, it definitely created a disconnect in there. And, you know, well, it's a big fucking blood clot in my brain. It's got to do some damage, you know, and I'm sure some of it permanent, unfortunately. As much as I'd like to say it hasn't, you know, I'm sure it has. And it was in the left side of my brain. It affected my right side. So that's the creative side of your brain. So maybe that's why I have such problems at times making such creative videos for YouTube. Sometimes I have weird spurts of creativity, but it's, you know, I get little spurts of it and it's not always consistent. But yeah, that's kind of a different thing, I guess. But growing up with it, well, you know, I don't know any different. So, you know, I couldn't tell you what it's like to grow up after having a stroke. I notice more now my limitations, I guess, and, you know, repercussions from it more so than I did when I was younger. Now that I'm older, I see other people and I see myself and I see things that, hey, maybe that was actually caused by the stroke, you know. Maybe not. I don't try to use it as an excuse, and you probably never heard me use it as an excuse because I'm not that kind of person. I don't, you know, use other things to try to justify bullshit. You know, I don't use bad things that happen to me to try to justify bullshit that I do, rather. But, yeah, so otherwise, growing up with it, like I said, you know, I didn't know no better, so really I don't know how any different it would be. If I could do it all over again, would I do it without it? Of course I would. Obviously, it's hindered my life in some respects, maybe more than what I know. I mean, I may have a lot more. I might have psychological issues caused by it. I don't know. I don't know the full depth of the damage that was done. Neither does anybody else. Nobody ever will because we don't know the brain that well. But, you know, I live day by day and I don't have, you know, unlike a lot of people, I'm, you know, not prone to severe mood swings, emotional issues, stuff like that. You know, I'm actually pretty lucky as far as that goes, so I guess I'm pretty well off. Did it change me? I don't know, to be honest. I was so young, but I was told that it did. Some of my friends as a kid told me that before my stroke I was a big jerk or an asshole, and that after my stroke I was a lot more compassionate and a lot nicer of a person. Now, again, I don't know. I can't remember. I was a kid, so I can't really say if I was nice or not. I don't really remember. And even if I did, you know, who am I to make that judgment call? But anyways, yeah, so, you know, that's what that part of it was. So yeah, all in all, it's been weird. It's a different experience. Obviously, it's not something you're going to want to have, but I didn't really have a choice in the matter. It's something I've had to deal with all my life. Well, for 30 years roughly of my life. I'm sure it sets me back in certain ways, but I don't let it hold me back. I don't use it as an excuse, like I said. You know, some people may judge me, and they may judge me mostly because of, things that have happened to me because of my stroke. I may look somewhat the way I look, or talk the way I talk, or act the way I act because of it. And, maybe that's because of my stroke, maybe it isn't, That's why I don't try to use it as an, as an excuse, because, where do I draw the line? When does stroke problems start and real life problems start? You don't know where to start and end anything. So, it is what it is, and you just deal with it. You live one day at a time. I never thought of it. Some people said, well, geez, that's pretty much a disability, isn't it? Maybe it is. I've only known disability, I guess, if that's the case. Obviously I can do a lot of the things. I do most things that everybody else does, if not everything. A lot of things I do better. So, and damn it, I keep looking away from the camera. It's weird, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just not used to looking at a camera. I know I gotta pretend like I'm talking to the camera, like I'm talking to a person. And if I keep looking away, people aren't gonna be as interested, because that's just the nature of it. I hope I didn't just... One second, guys. Okay, good. I thought I pressed a button there and stopped recording. But yeah, I'm sorry if I don't pay good attention to the camera. I'm going to work on that. I know that doesn't help my viewership. But yeah, I don't know. What's your 2 cents? What are your thoughts on this? Do you even know I had a stroke? I don't know how much I've made it a public thing. I know I've mentioned it before, but yeah, I had a stroke when I was 8. I was paralyzed for almost 2 weeks. Who would have thunk it? I'm glad, though, in a way, that it happened when it did, because I do have a friend who had a stroke when he was 19 and now is permanently disfigured. His one arm is totally gimped up. He can kind of use it, but not like a normal person. He can't walk normal. He's got to walk with a limp and with a cane for the rest of his life. So I lucked out there. But anyways, guys, like I said, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on the whole situation. And let me know if I surprised the hell out of you by telling you I had a stroke. Maybe you didn't know that. I mean, it's been a long time, so, a lot of people just wouldn't straight up know. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you. This has been a video I've been wanting to make for a little while. I hope you enjoy it, and hope it answers any questions you may have about what it's like to have a stroke when you're a kid. Peace out.